The next one really has to do with staying on message. So we talked about staying with the presenter and staying with that presentation, and even staying present in general as it relates to practices and certainly the mock trial, that you're going to be with the exercise, be with what's going on right there. Staying on message is something a little different, but it's key to being an ideal teammate, and that is there are decisions that are going to be made about the trial presentation and about the team effort. You're going to make decisions now that you know about from earlier videos, theory, how you're going to win the case, how you're going to prevail at this case, and theme, how you're going to explain your vantage point, your viewpoint to jurors and evaluators. Your theory and theme, there are choices that are going to be made. There's going to be some parts, some facts, some witness testimony that you're not going to present because it's not part of the message. It's not part of the theory of the case. It's not part of the theme and the way you'll explain the case. So those decisions that you make as a mock trial team should dictate the way that it comes out at trial. And you can really see a mock trial team that has chosen its message carefully, that has made deliberate choices about what the trial presentation is going to be like, what the evidence is going to be like as a result of those decisions, because they all adhere to this message. There's no difference that I can discern because one teammate is doing one jury address and the other teammate is doing a witness examination. Instead, it's all on message, all on the same sheet of music. To the contrary, what you see, and this is probably easier to spot, when clearly people are on a team and sort of roster only and name only, but they haven't spent the time to make these decisions, or they've haven't agreed upon these decisions. So they just go to a mock trial and one teammate saying one thing and another teammate saying the other thing. Even if they don't contradict each other, it's apparent that they're not on the same message. It's apparent that they're all kind of doing their own thing. Never works. Absolutely never works, because all you can see is, well, that was a pretty good direct examination, but it was a drastically different presentation and not part of the same team effort as the opening statement that a colleague did immediately before it. So the idea of thinking of staying on message, being in unison, making the tough choices while you're together in practice and with your teammates and with your coaches. And then when you've made those decisions and you decide that, okay, here's our theory, here's how we're going to prevail, we've made some careful choices about what testimony we're going to elicit from witnesses and what exhibits we're going to put in and what we're going to say about all of it in closing. That's our message. And we can't go rogue at trial. We can't take on our own path on trial. We can't say, oh, yeah, I know we chose that theory or we chose that theme, but I want to put a little of mine in too. No, it just gets more complicated and more muddled. We're all doing the same thing and we're honoring that. Here's sort of the imagery. It's got to be a team that's all pulling in the same direction, that's all pulling at the same time, that actually has this planned out as a practiced evolution as a team. You can't just have one person in the boat that decides, yeah, but today I'm going to do this a little differently, or today I'm not going to pay so much attention to the timing and the calls. It doesn't work out in crew. It doesn't work out in paddling, and it certainly does not work out in mock trial. You have to be in unison. You have to be part of the same team, and you have to have those discussions worked out in practice. The next one is stay in character, and this can mean a lot of different things. So I'll tell you what I mean. We already talked about how you're going to have to be in the exercise. You're staying present in the trial. You're staying with that presentation. But this means everyone at that trial is playing a certain character. Now, it's easy to understand when we talk about witnesses. If you're an expert witness who's a DNA expert, or you're a fact witness who was a truck driver on that given day, or you're a doctor, or whatever the character of the witness you're assuming, that becomes easier. But even as a mock trial participant, one of the ones performing the role of a lawyer, you could be the plaintiff's attorney or the prosecution in a criminal case, or you could be the defense attorney. You are staying in that character. Hold that character. Do not toggle back to being a kid in high school or a 2L law student. Don't break character at any point while you're in trial. And I think the number one place where this kind of shows through is, there's a standout in anything. There's a different video about how to stand out in mock trial that I offered. But if you're one of these people that's really good at it, you understand the facts, you understand everything that I'm going to say in future videos about objections and how this should go down. Maybe you're just kind of one of these know-it-all type, I got this. Well, if your role in that trial is to be a witness and to be the truck driver who just says what happened on a given day when the truck went through a red light, that's your role. It's confined to that role. You don't get to signal or try to play attorney to, or you don't get to hint as a truck driver to the attorney that they should be objecting at a certain time. Instead, stay in your role, stay in your character. And if everyone honors that as the team, you'll have people that are playing attorneys and presenting as attorneys. You'll have people that are playing bailiff. You'll have people that are playing witnesses, and everyone holds in those characters. So you want to adhere to your character and stay in that character. You also want to do so as a mutual respect for your teammates. If there's an objection to be made, the person playing the attorney who's responsible for making the objection has to do it. And you know what? The only way they're going to learn is they have to do it on their own, not with signaling, not with eyebrows that go up to say you should be objecting now. Everyone should stay in character. The last one, this is an important one. I can tell you this is the one that falls apart a lot of times. If you see a mock trial team have a bad day, if you see a mock trial team kind of go off on their own, it's usually this part is the first part to loosen up and fall apart, and that's staying positive. I approach it as kind of two distinct parts. One, you have to stay positive within yourself and your own performances. That is the way I tell it. And then I tell this to law students and even young lawyers. You're not qualified yet to evaluate your own performance. So I don't want to see your body language or your facial expression essentially projecting outward that it's not going well. You don't know yet, so I want you to stay positive in your body language, stay positive in your expressions, stay positive in the presentation that's going on. If it didn't go well, you should have a good coach and someone that cares about you that'll come over after and tell you what you can work on, how it can get better, what you can learn from it. That's for after. During the trial, you're staying positive. And if you're going to stay positive during the trial, stay positive while you're in practice and while you're working to get towards trial. So that's one. As it relates to you, just keep it positive all the time. Nobody should look in on that camera on you and say, oh, this one's not going well. Look at her face. This one's not going well. Look at his body language. Should not happen. The second one, and I think this is even more important than staying positive for yourself, is how are you going to be an ideal teammate that's positive for those on your team? That is, you've all worked hard, you've all been in a room together, you've all sacrificed, you've all worked towards this end of being at mock trial, and only you know how hard some of your teammates have worked. Be that person on the team that when someone has worked for months to give an opening statement that's exactly 7 minutes long, that gets you off started the right way, that introduces your theory and your theme for your team, when they come and sit down, just for them, no one else in the room, be the one that turns to them and say, great job. Positive as a reflection of all that goes into mock trial. When someone asks the right questions, asks them in a tight manner, gets short, clear, yes questions on cross, gets the things that we need for a different colleague to deliver closing, be the person that says, great closing, great cross-examination when they sit down. Positive throughout trial. Okay, now I'm not suggesting that you say great job no matter what happens, but most of what goes on in mock trial, there's a lot of work that goes into it. And if it moves the ball forward, if it advances your team, be the teammate that's going to say that to recognize it and say they did a good job. And certainly after trial's over, tell people what you think, give people your honest feedback, but keep it positive. I'm telling you, it is one of those stressful, kind of high adrenaline exercises. So you remember the people that recognize, wow, you just got through that and you did a great job. And I want to tell you about it right as we're in the moment while all this excitement is going on. You'll remember those people. So why not be one of those people to be an ideal teammate?